Hello, welcome back to the Caring Conversation studio, live from the Care Show at the NEC in Birmingham. We're here with another guest. Lee, how are you?
Yeah, really good, really good. So my name is Lee Trueman. I'm co-founder of Health Automated, AI care management system.
Perfect. Right, so we're going to talk about well-being today.
Yep, we are.
I noticed you've got Boys Get Sad Too jumper on.
Absolutely.
So it's interesting campaign that I've been seeing online.
Yeah. So Boys Get Sad Too, raising the profile of men's mental health. 10% of the profits go to mental health charities. So really nice design, and you're helping out at the same time. So yeah, a double win.
Perfect. So in terms of well-being, then, how's your well-being, Lee?
As being a startup founder, it is very, very mixed. So we go from those euphoric highs to those really crashing lows and then back up. Really good at times. Obviously, there's a lot of workload, there's a lot of pressure. Does trigger the imposter syndrome.
Absolutely, yeah.
So, yeah,
it doesn't go
it's
away.
variable. It's on a constant slide.
Yeah. I mean, it's really interesting. I had a conversation yesterday with a chap, and I was explaining how, because of all the stress I deal with, I've learned ways to kind of curve it off, right? So it never kind of goes super high, and I don't get stressed in the moment, but then that also rubs off the other side, so then I find it quite difficult to enjoy moments I feel I should be enjoying. And I think there's some kind of cognitive thing that's happened in there, which means that I'm sort of trying to protect myself, and by stopping that side, you stop that side. And then a chap I was speaking to said that he has the opposite problem, that he goes from, like, he's like furious to like over the moon, like his wife will make him a dinner and he thinks it's the best bloody thing he's ever had, so like he'll get an email and he'll go off the handle about it. It's quite interesting sort of seeing that different approach to emotion.
Yeah, it really is, and I think it's about, a lot of it is about addressing trauma. So I've got a really nice flat white here, a really nice cup of coffee. Now if we imagine at the bottom of this cup there was mud, now if I start putting sugar on and more sugar on and more sugar on, it's still going to be a cup of mud. And that's how we need to address trauma, that the good can't replace the bad. We still need to address that bad trauma that's happened in our lives. We can't just do really good and really good and really good and think that's going to go away. That unresolved trauma is still going to be there. It's still going to trigger us and lead to events like you just described there. So it's all about talking to people. It's about getting that therapy, that time with a professional, and addressing those traumas that happen in our lives, because trauma could be anything, like a vet who's in Afghanistan, gets wounded, has PTSD, which is extreme trauma, to if a carer goes and sees Mrs. Jones and she snaps at them, that might cause trauma.
Yeah.
And again, we just need to address that trauma rather than just trying to go, right, this thing that's really bad's happened to me, I'm going to address that by doing some really good stuff, giving to charity, doing volunteer stuff, excelling at my job, trying to fix my relationship. We still need to address the core points of that trauma to make sure that we're addressing that, and then we can move on.
Because I think ultimately trauma doesn't necessarily have to be like you're a war veteran, right? Like a trauma can be like a word or two that somebody said to you when you were younger that's affected your core beliefs, and then so you think you're not worthy because of this one thing, and you might have just blocked that thought out and not remember it, but it can be as much as one comment from somebody that just sticks with you and just holds in your psyche, and that you need to just have a look at that and say, actually, is that true? Is that true?
Yeah.
Or not? Yeah, and really work on it. How do people do that? How do we?
It's hard. I think, first of all, the first problem is owning it. The first problem is identifying it, owning it. That has caused me trauma. So I know a friend who has got a really bad reaction to rejection. Now it turns out that the person was abandoned by the parents, and they blocked that out of the memory, so that wasn't an issue for them. But still, inside the psyche, they were still triggered by rejection. Now, if that person would have had therapy, had of those talking sessions, then they would have been able to identify that as the root cause, instead of just not knowing why they react a certain way. Because we all do it. Sometimes you react and you're like, why did I react that way? That makes no sense. That really doesn't bother me. But in that moment, there was nothing more important, there was nothing more hurtful than what that person said, and it was just a throwaway comment that because of unresolved or even undiagnosed trauma, stuff that's happened so many years ago, it's been buried. But we need to identify that, know that it's okay to not be okay. Obviously today is World Mental Health Day as well, so I think it's workplaces need to sort of be more involved as well, because we all know that people will put World Mental Health Day today, they'll put a logo on the website and it'll be like, that's our job for the next 12 months. But what we need to do, less days like this and real actionable change, which is support every day. And if people need support, then we need to give it to them. We wouldn't have someone with a flu or COVID or a broken arm or fractured ankle and then go, no, you don't need support. Of course you'd give it to them. And if someone's stressed out or if they've got a mental health condition, then why don't we support them as well? It's just about opening the whole conversation up, I think.
Right, well, I'm going to have to end it there because we've got another guest raring to go because you're sharing a spot with your colleague Jack.
I am my better half. My better half.
So I've got one final question for you. Takeaways, plate or no plate?
Oof. Now, it depends what it is. So if I'm getting Nando's, I don't need a plate because I'm destroying that straight away. Now, if I try to have an Indian takeaway with no plate, it's not going to end well. So, both.
Both, yeah. Safety plate sometimes?
Yeah, safety plate. I mean, if I'm getting, what am I getting from Nando's where I need a plate? Rice. I'm getting a spicy rice, then I'll get a plate.
But the box maybe isn't
got I need to put some hot sauce on the top of it.
Yeah. Bit of, if it spills over, you need a bit of sort of excess.
Yeah.
Lovely, right, okay. Nice. Thank you very much for coming.
Awesome. Take care.
Right, we'll be back shortly to speak to Jack.